Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be here to enjoy and have some fun with Rockboy680's 1,000 subscribers contest. James, congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. You have done an amazing job building your channel. I've known you since you had about 400 or 500. Just have turned into an incredible friend. I couldn't ask for a better friend. I'm so glad that I met you through the YouTube vinyl community, and we have so much fun talking about music. So it couldn't happen to a better person, a better friend, and I'm so honored to enter what you have developed, a very, very cool, fun contest. You've given us a choice to pick a decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, and list your top album from each year of that particular decade. Well, you know me, I have a hard time doing that. I've got to do a little bit more than you asked for, so I pulled out 5 albums from each year. I'm going to get right to it so I don't waste too much time here, so I can get through each one of them and still stay under the 10-minute time frame. So I'm just going to show the album, name it, and move on. Not going to be any critique or anything, because there's no time for that. But James, fabulous job with the contest idea, fabulous channel. If you haven't checked out James' channel, you've got to do that. It is so cool, and you do an amazing job on your videos, and I always strive to have the quality that you put into your stuff, and I hope I'm getting there. So anyway, 1980s I picked because it's the first decade of music. I was buying my own music. I was a preteen and teenager, and I was having so much fun. It was just a great time. So 80s were a good choice for me, but the theme is so cool that you may see me do videos on the 60s, 70s, and 90s and other decades. So I really, really like this idea, and it was great fun to participate. So thanks for the cool idea, James, and congratulations. Alright, well, we'll start from the top 1980 and work our way down, and you'll see 4 runners-up, and then my top choice for best album of that particular year. 1980, we'll start with Duke from Genesis, just a fantastic album. We've got Crocodiles from Echo and the Bunnymen, one of their best albums. We've got, here's one you'll like, James, McCartney 2 from Paul McCartney, a very experimental, different album from Paul that I really appreciate still very much to this day. And we've got maybe the more unorthodox choice from that year, Ambient 2 from Brian Eno and Harold Budd. Now, I didn't know this album in the 80s, but I have learned to love it very, very much as an adult. And then my top choice for album of 1980, top album of 1980, is U2's Boy, one of the best debut albums of all time, and maybe still one, not maybe, it is one of their best albums in their entire catalog. Love the album, it just stands the test of time. 1981, we're going to start with runners-up, the second album from The Cure's Faith, just a fabulous album there. We've got Ghost in the Machine from The Police. Most of these albums you probably know very well, so I don't have to say too much about them. Movement by New Order comes as a runner-up, wonderful album from New Order. And here's a band that I have never really talked about before on my channel, but certainly a fantastic album, and I'm so proud to show it here, is Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, Architecture and Morality. Fantastic stuff there, you gotta check it out. And I just did a complete music collections video on them last week. My top album from 1981 is The Moody Blues, Long Distance Voyager. Love that album from day one, and I played it until I couldn't stand it anymore, and now I love it even better than I ever have. 1982, runners-up, you've got to include Michael Jackson Thriller, best-selling album of all time. You've got to include the iconic Prince with 1999, kind of a breakthrough album for Prince. Here's maybe an unexpected choice. Donald Fagen's The Nightfly. I just absolutely adore this album. I think it's incredible. Here's another one for James's viewers that a lot of his viewers can appreciate. Paul McCartney, Tug of War, one of the best albums of his entire catalog as far as I'm concerned. And my top choice for favorite album of 1982 is Duran Duran's Rio. I have done a music collections video on Duran Duran, so if you want to know more about them, check that out. 1983, very tough year for me. They were all hard, but this one really stood out as very difficult. We've got Tears for Fears, The Hurting, another fantastic debut album. We've got second album from the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Just such an iconic 80s album. We've got probably the best-selling album of that year, Synchronicity by The Police. Every song on there could be on their greatest hits. And we've got Murmur by R.E.M., their full-length debut album. Had an EP out before that one, but that's their full-length debut. And then my top album from 1983 is the second album from the same year by Eurythmics, Touch. I like this one a little bit more than Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Just as an album as a whole, I think it's just a little bit stronger, and I just love that album. Still play it a lot to this day. 1984, very, very difficult again. U2's The Unforgettable Fire is a runner-up. Magical album there. It's just so different and dark and deep compared to their previous work. Here's a band that I absolutely adore, Cocteau Twins, Treasure. It's a real standout album in their catalog for me. I just love that album. I love all their work. We've got the masterpiece here, Go Insane, by Lindsey Buckingham. James, you just did an album review that is just magical. You did such an amazing job for someone who hasn't known this album that long, really getting behind the nuts and bolts of this album, Go Insane. So check out James's review of that on his channel. He just uploaded it just a few days ago. Maybe the best-selling album of that particular year, 1984, Prince's Purple Rain, one of the best-selling soundtracks of all time. And my personal choice for best album of 1984 is Howard Jones' Humans Lib. Just a fabulous album. I've got a complete music collections video on Howard Jones, so go check that out. 1985, we've got some tough choices here. We've got Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. You know that album. It's so good. And we've got Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, probably the best-selling album in his solo career. We've got the magical, wonderful Kate Bush with Hounds of Love, probably her most loved and well-known album. Just fabulous stuff there. We've got an album that a lot of people don't know about, and I'm really still very crazy about this. Probably didn't know it until the 90s, if I'm being honest with you, but now I'm happy to rate it as one of the best albums from 1985, and that is the self-titled album from Clan of Xymox. Very dark, industrial type, gothic sound, but I just love this album. Always have, and I'm sure I always will. And then my top album of that particular year, 1985, is Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. Their second album is an absolute masterpiece that stands the test of time in any decade. Alright, 1986, we've got some tough choices again. We've got Black Celebration from Depeche Mode. Tried to pull out all original copies if I could get to them easy. I think almost every one of these is original. We've got Invisible Touch from Genesis, another magical album in their catalog. Probably the most unknown album of my entire 10-year list here is this one, because it was their first and only album, and I just loved it from day one. I still do, and I think it really stood the test of time very well. And that is David and David's Boomtown. So check out the title track, if nothing else. Maybe I'll leave a link to this one, since nobody probably knows this duo, David and David. David Barrowald is the guy here. He did have a solo career, maybe still does, and he did have a little success with it, but that album is absolutely stunning. Talk Talk is the last runner-up from 1986 with The Color of Spring. Probably could be easily #1. But it's very difficult to not vote Peter Gabriel's So as the top album from 1986, because every song on here would be on his greatest hits album, and it's just an absolute masterpiece. Alright, 1987, we'll kick it off with Kick, In Excess, great album there, by the late singer Michael Hutchence. I had that one out of Any Rap, so I have to show you that. Fleetwood Mac's Tango in the Night, one of their stronger albums, I think, and you know, it's an 80s sounding album, but I like it a lot. Here's another kind of more unknown band, Icehouse with Man of Colors. Just absolutely love the mood and shape and colors of this album. I think it's just so good, and I wish they would have had a little bit more success. That was a pretty good selling album, though. Prince, Sign of the Times, his masterpiece Double LP, I think probably one of the best albums in his entire catalog, if not the best. And then it just would be impossible not to rank this album as the best of 1987, and that is The Joshua Tree by U2. Looks like I'm going to go just a little over, James. I hope you don't mind. 1988, Love Hysteria by Peter Murphy, lead singer of Bauhaus. I think that was his second album. We've got the Traveling Wilburys. You know, what can you say? You got 5 classic people there who, a couple of them are no longer with us, with Roy Orbison, George Harrison, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan. Fabulous album there. Every song on there was a hit, too. We've got Cocteau Twins showing up again with Bluebell No. Their last album on 4AD is just an absolute masterpiece. We've got the wonderful, gothic, dark, mysterious, moody Dead Can Dance with The Serpent's Egg. I think maybe their strongest album. You can see I'm a big fan. And then we've got another Talk Talk album is The Color of Spring. I'm sorry, Spirit of Eden is, I'm ranking that as my top album from 1988. Talk Talk's Spirit of Eden. It is the full-length album, even though there's only 7 tracks on it. A couple of them are quite long, and it is an absolute masterpiece. Finally, 1989, we've got 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. Really changing gears quite a lot there. We've got Tears for Fears, third time they're showing up in my countdown, with The Seeds of Love. Pure magic on that one. We've got Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever. Such a great album. Stands up on any decade. Just as an absolute joy to listen to. And we've got the debut album from the Stone Roses. Masterpiece. Influenced so many different bands. So many different... it just influenced a whole decade, really, going into the 90s. And then my final one I'm going to show you is probably one of my favorite albums of all time, if I'm being honest with you. 1989's best album for me is The Cure's Disintegration. Here's an original copy, just came at that time on a single vinyl. So there you have it, James. Oh my god, I went over. I'm so sorry. I tried as hard as I could to keep it under 10 minutes. Hopefully you won't mind. Hopefully I'm not disqualified. Great contest idea. Loved every bit of it. I hope I can do something like this again. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers, and thank you for watching, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Take care, and bye for now.